Washington Grown is brought to you by the potato farmers of Washington. Learn why Washington is home to the world's most productive potato fields and farmers by visiting potatoes.com. Also brought to you by Northwest Farm Credit Services, supporting agriculture and rural communities with reliable, consistent credit and financial services today and tomorrow. And by the Washington Turfgrass Seed Commission, helping our farmers produce the highest quality turfgrass seed in the world.
Hi everyone, I'm Christy Goranson and welcome to Washington Grown. There are over 35,000 farms producing more than 300 commodities here in Washington State. That's a lot of farmland. But did you know that half of Washington State is forested? In this episode, we're going to look at what we're growing for your table in Washington's forests. Tomas is visiting Bigleaf Maple to see how maple syrup is made in Washington.
Washington syrup's coming your way.
Washington syrup, it's coming your way.
And I'm making turkey schnitzel with succotash at Eyvind.
Do you have a good turkey call?
I don't even know what a turkey. Well, maybe I have them in my backyard, so maybe maybe like a.
Then Tomas is foraging for mushrooms in a Washington forest.
Oh, look at that red one. Oh, wow.
All this and more today on Washington Grown. This is harder than it looks.
It's a little baby pig.
That's really, really good, Bree.
That's a little party in a little glass.
Well, hello there. Gobble, 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 gobble. Oh!
No TV bites here. I'm gonna dig in. Cheers, cheers, cheers.
People often say that food is an art form, and here at Eyvind in Spokane, they take that concept one step further. For Chef Tony Brown and his team, art and food are one and the same.
Gosh, delicious.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's delicious. I mean, and we love Tony's food anyways.
We try and make it an experience.
Owner and chef Tony Brown wanted to create a space where customers can have a great meal without feeling underdressed.
It is fine dining techniques, but it's not stuffy. You're not going to have to wear a suit and a tie. You can wear flip flops. You can wear whatever. Tennis shoes. Come on in.
It's amazing. It is so good.
He's really creative and he likes to follow ingredients and concepts and themes wherever they're gonna go.
If you're a foodie, definitely this is a place that you would want to be sure to hit up.
Sticking with kind of my own personal philosophy, everything as local as possible. But it is, as a chef, important to know where your food comes from. When I put something on a plate, when I cook something, when I chop up a vegetable, I like the idea of knowing that I know exactly where it came from, and I've probably even met the person that grew it.
Don't miss later in the show when Chef Tony and I make turkey schnitzel with succotash.
I just like saying schnitzel.
I know, schnitzel is kind of a fun word to say.
It's a fun word to say.
When you think of maple syrup, you may not be thinking about Washington State. I know I didn't. So I was really surprised to learn that we produce maple syrup right here in the Skagit Valley. So let's go find out how they do it, and if we're lucky, maybe even get a taste. Although there are many maple syrup producers on the East Coast, here in Washington, Bigleaf Maple is the first to try it. I'm talking with owner Neil McLeod about what it takes to make syrup happen in the Evergreen State. Why are there not more maple syrup producers here in Washington
Because
State?
everybody knows you can't make maple syrup in Washington State.
But you're doing it.
I'm doing it, but it can't be done.
Neil started as a hobbyist, making small batches of syrup until he got his first big break.
Devin, my son, took some to Canlis, and they decided they wanted to buy everything I could make. And I realized I could be making, hundreds of dollars for a gallon of syrup. So that year I drove to Wisconsin, bought myself an evaporator, and got into the business of making Bigleaf maple syrup.
Neil took me out to his lines, which use a vacuum to pull sap out of the trees.
This is our A line. It's probably running about a half a mile. We're running through the forest and we're picking up trees wherever you go. All these maple trees will be tied into these lines. And we're staying right close to the creek, but I want that water in the ground to create the sap.
You know, traditionally when I think of sap, I think of the stuff that's stuck on a tree. But when it's first coming out, it's pretty viscous, isn't it?
It's like water. A good sap is crystal clear. You take a drink of it and it tastes like the very best water, just slightly sweet. You're running at about 1.6% sugar. My cook-off rate is 100 gallons of sap makes 1 gallon of syrup, which sounds like a lot, but with reverse osmosis, I'm pouring off pure water one way and concentrating my sap the other way.
So in a process of making a syrup, we're literally taking the sap and just making a reduction, basically.
Yes.
We're getting rid of the water and concentrating the sap.
The water has been boiled out of it, basically. You've reduced it down from 1% sugar to 66.5% sugar is in the bottle.
And wouldn't you know it, producing maple syrup is not only delicious, it's also good for the environment.
I'm not only creating a high dollar crop that can compete with blueberries, raspberries, the highest dollar crops we have out there, but I'm building a canopy for birds and insects. I'm leaving that groundwater in the ground. There's no sprays. I'm cooling the land, creeks.
All right, now it's time to taste some fresh Washington maple syrup. I get this kind of really earthy, dark tone. The sugar, it isn't like in your face. It's more subdued.
Yep,
This
exactly.
is really rich and brown and mellow.
You can taste a little bit of vanilla in my syrup, caramel, but it's also always changing through the winter. The colder it gets, snow on the ground, it changes the flavor of my syrup. This would probably be February syrup. That's probably a January syrup. Like you can
Oh
see
yeah,
some,
look how much lighter that is. From the same batch of trees, just at a different
same batch
time.
of trees, but it's always changing. You know, it's a lot like honey, where
Yeah.
honey always changes different locations.
Wow.
You get a different taste of the honey.
That is good. I mean,
Thank
it
you.
really is delicious.
I can see in the next 10 years, other people picking this up.
Washington syrup's coming your way.
Washington syrup, it's coming your way.
Hey, let's go. Where can you get delicious, authentic Native American food in downtown Seattle? Well, look no further than Off the Res. Co-owner Cecilia Reichert and her partner are bringing Indian fry bread to the streets of Capitol Hill. When I heard fry bread, I was like, okay, I haven't seen a lot of food trucks dishing out fry bread. So why fry bread?
I own it with my partner Mark, and he's Blackfeet. And so his mom grew up on the res in Browning, Montana, the Blackfeet Reservation. It just kind of came out of a craving from him one day and not being able to find it. And then we were like, you know what, this is a great idea. We're just gonna bring it to the streets ourselves.
Today we're trying out their special fry bread topped with Washington grown blackberry jam. Look at that. Not only is that fry bread super chewy and moist, soft, it's so good. That blackberry jam, amazing.
Oh, thank you.
I had to go for thirds.
I like that messy bite, that's good.
Now let's see what the people of Seattle think of this amazing fry bread. This fry bread is gonna just knock your socks off.
Oh man, I would have to say that's pretty darn good.
Super delicious.
It's hitting all those spots. It's almost like a funnel cake almost.
It's like a perfect little medley.
Ain't much better, man. And of course, you know, it's guilt-free because it's got antioxidants. The berries, yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, it's great, man. I really like it.
So you would have no problem recommending this to your friends then?
Oh, of course not. Yeah, it's happening.
It's happening.
Yeah.
You're doing it right now.
Yeah, right now.
Coming up, I'm making turkey schnitzel with succotash at Eyvind.
Do you have a good turkey call?
I don't even know what a turkey. Well, maybe, I have them in my backyard, so maybe
there you go.
maybe like a. Boo.
And we're in the kitchen at Second Harvest trying out some caramelized maple apple pie with candied bacon crumble. We're back at Eyvind in Spokane, filled with history, art, and great food. This small, warm space is perfect for a special date or just a night on the town.
Casual, laid back, very inviting, warm.
He's my favorite chef in Spokane. Yep. Hands down.
Fine dining, but approachable.
Owner and chef Tony Brown uses his personal inspirations to craft his dishes, creating true culinary masterpieces.
So Eyvind Earl is an artist that I've really enjoyed forever. He's actually known for doing the background art for Sleeping Beauty and other Disney films, but he was a surrealist. So I kind of took that concept that we like to play with different colors and kind of paint on the plate, if you will.
I would say that the food is very creative.
He doesn't try to just be stagnant and have a menu that everyone's going to know and say, okay, every time I go to Ruins or Eyvind, I can get this thing.
It's amazing. It is so good.
We actually did a dinner that was based on the paintings of Eyvind, where we tried to recreate his paintings on a plate. It looks fancy, you know, it's artistic.
He's really creative and he likes to follow ingredients and concepts and themes wherever they're gonna go. And so I think he keeps everything really fresh.
So what are we gonna make today?
Today we're gonna make a turkey schnitzel with a little bit of succotash and a micro radish green salad with smoked tomato vinaigrette.
Schnitzel and succotash.
Schnitzel and succotash, yes.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So we have some Washington raised turkey, and what are we gonna make again?
We're gonna make a turkey schnitzel. It's called a cutlet or chicken fried steak. It's kind of all the same deal. It's pounded really thin, breaded, and then fried in shallow oil.
All right, so what do we do first?
So first we're gonna cook the schnitzel.
I just like saying schnitzel.
I know, schnitzel is kind of a fun word to say.
It's a fun word to say.
You typically would get this like at a German restaurant. It's kind of traditionally a pretty heavy dish, but we're gonna kind of lighten it up with the succotash here.
So kind of comfort food.
We season the turkey with salt and then bread it in flour, egg, and breadcrumbs.
It's gonna be good. And this doesn't take long to cook.
It does not. No,
cook pretty fast.
Yeah, super thin. So once you get all the prep done, this is gonna be real quick. And we're just gonna let that go for a little while on this side, and we're gonna flip it over probably after about 3 or 4 minutes.
You didn't actually hunt this turkey, but you have hunted turkey before.
I have, yeah, for the first time.
Do you have a good turkey call? Can I hear it?
I don't. I actually, I am not a hunter at all. For the first time I went out hunting this year.
You don't even want to try.
I don't even know what a turkey. Well, maybe, I have them in my backyard, so maybe
there you go.
maybe like
the Spokane turkey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In fact, I have several turkeys in my backyard. Those ones you do not want to eat.
Probably not.
Once the schnitzel's done, we take it off the pan and start making the succotash. We put some pork belly into the pan and then add garlic scapes, rainbow beans, yellow corn, red bell pepper, zucchini, yellow and green squash, and fava beans.
So we're just gonna basically saute this around. We don't want them to be too mushy. The idea with succotash is to keep kind of the freshness of the vegetable.
While that's cooking, we start making a small salad to go over the schnitzel. We mix together radish greens, shiso, dill, mint, coriander seeds, and a little bit of smoked tomato vinaigrette.
And then just because I love tomatoes, we're gonna do a little heirloom tomato salad also, a little extra virgin olive oil.
Now that looks like summer.
Coarse salt, exactly. This whole dish is going to be very summery, so
no mushy vegetables.
No mushy vegetables. You want them nice and crisp. And then we're going to put the salad right on top. And there you have it.
That's so fresh and so easy.
Pretty much everything from the garden and a turkey.
And a turkey. It's really fresh.
Yeah.
And you have hearty, and then you have a nice light side dish. You want some?
Yeah, I'll try some. Never pass up some schnitzel.
Right. Well, good job. Thank you for showing me.
Thank you.
That's going to be an easy thing to try at home.
To get the recipe for Eyvind's turkey schnitzel with succotash, visit wagrown.com.
I'm in northeastern Washington on the Spokane Indian Reservation, visiting Wellpinit School, where a special program is connecting students and trees.
So my name is Dana Bowers. I am the Education Program Coordinator at the Conservation District in Stevens County.
So tell me about Forestry at Home. What is that all about?
So Forestry at Home was just a response to COVID. As the community and the teachers were starting to contact me saying, we need something for these kids to do hands-on. We started thinking about what could that look like. It came together as 2 pieces, one being a physical hands-on tree. And the seedlings that we were able to give away were donated by the National Forest Service, Colville National Forest. So we had a box for K-2, we had a box for 3 to 5, and a box for 6 to 8. And they all were at different reading levels so the kids could read them and do these things. And some of them were like, take a walk outside and notice the leaves, notice the shapes of the leaves, and things that they could do from home.
I asked Michelle Bruce, middle school science teacher, what it's like to have access to Dana's program.
What is it like? It's like a gift is what it's like. She provides resources to my students and my community without even knowing us, and then she'll bring it here and help us utilize those with our kids.
How did the students react when you came to them and said, hey guys, we've got all these trees, it's time to get planting?
One word, cool. You know, that's what they were feeling, is cool. And you know, when you're especially dealing with digital and distance learning right now, you've got a lot of packets, a lot of paperwork. It's just a refreshing break, and it's something that sits naturally with the culture here. So it's a good thing. It's a great relationship. My students are pretty connected with their culture and they understand the land and the food sovereignty piece. And then for us to be able to accentuate that with Western science ideas that really just mimic or couple with the indigenous ideas that they are raised with, it's a privilege, to be honest with you.
Now you have a student in particular, his name's Morrison, that kind of went with this project the extra mile, didn't he?
He did. Morrison is genetically born to be the botanist of the tribe, as far as I'm concerned.
I've heard you planted a lot of trees, is that correct? How many trees did you replant?
I honestly don't remember, but it was a lot.
Right. So was it just pine trees or what?
Yeah, it was just ponderosa pine.
Okay, very good.
Like right there.
When we see kids like Morrison who really get it and really understand that and want to be good stewards, it really gives us the tingles.
Yeah, for sure.
Coming up, Tomas is foraging for mushrooms with an expert forager.
I'll let you get that one.
Oh, the hard one. You want to give me the hard one, I see.
Well, baby, do you want to get this one?
One of the things that people love to grow the most at home is fruit. Even if you plant a dwarf tree, it's gonna get larger than you think. A dwarf tree can grow up to 15 feet height and width, so you need a pretty good space for that tree to grow. The other thing that you have to take into account that if that tree is happy, it's gonna give you lots and lots of fruit. Do you really need 50 pounds of plums? If the answer is no, maybe purchasing them would be a better bet, and drying something like a berry bush would be a better idea. Berry bushes are excellent to grow. When you are purchasing plants, make sure that you're purchasing them from a reputable grower. If you're buying trees and berry bushes, you want to make sure that you're buying them from a nursery. At the nursery, they've purchased stock that is known for disease resistance. Make sure that you're providing enough room for the roots to grow, so you'll dig a wide area and then you'll place your canes or your tree in that space, fanning the roots out as you work. You want to give them a little bit of fertilizer just to give them a little bit of a boost as they're growing, because you have just disrupted them and you want them to settle in nicely. You'll cover that soil with mulch. Now what the mulch does is it helps to keep weed pressure down, but what it also does is it helps to keep moisture on those roots, which is important during establishment, but it's also important during fruiting. A berry bush needs a lot of water to drink to make those succulent berries that we all love to eat so much. While it does sound like a lot of work to have berries and trees in your backyard, the reward is very sweet.
Take a hike through a Washington forest and you just might stumble upon mushrooms growing in the ground. Although many of these fungi are edible, it can be difficult to know which ones are safe and which ones you better leave alone.
Our club has identification classes, we have organized outings.
James Novak is a member of the Puget Sound Mycological Society. Their goal is to foster understanding and appreciation of wild Washington mushrooms.
There are literally thousands of varieties of fungus that grow here in the Northwest. One of the measures of the health of a forest is the diversity of the fungi that grow in it.
I think a lot of times mushrooms can be intimidating because there are toxic varieties out there, and if you don't know what you're doing, you probably shouldn't just be wandering out into the forest like this, picking mushrooms, thinking that you're gonna toss them into a stew, right?
Well, you can toss them in the stew, just don't eat it. So every mushroom's edible at least once.
Now, before we went to go search for mushrooms, James showed me a few different types that he'd picked just the day before.
So this is a gilled mushroom. You see these little flat planes, they're called gills. Typically the gills are white in these, but the caps can be a rainbow of colors. And you can see we kind of got like a pinkish sort of hue here. Here's another interesting species here. This is a group of mushrooms called, their common name is a coral mushroom, obviously. It looks like coral.
Exactly.
And this is, again, another gilled mushroom. That's a member of the Tricholoma family.
And all these you've found around here?
Yeah.
So should we get some foraging?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it, I'm excited.
Okay, well, we'll just sort of pop in here, and you can see already there's some mushrooms.
Look at the size of that thing.
Yesterday.
Oh, look at that red one. Oh, wow.
And
there's one there.
And there.
We just stepped a few inches into the forest, and we've already seen a vast number of varieties.
If it was a regular year, there would be like 30 of them in this one little spot.
And this one is huge. It's got tons of gills.
Yeah, it's the gill mushroom. You always want to pull the mushroom out from the ground rather than cut it because the base is helped in identification. Wow. Check it out. Now see how the sponge is nice and creamy white like that?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of holes. That's perfect.
And this is a porcini.
Yeah, this is the porcini. This is the king of the forest.
The king right there.
The cool thing is that we can pick these mushrooms all day long, and it doesn't harm the mycelium because they're growing underground on the trees. Just don't go out there and pick anything unless you absolutely know.
There you go.
Because the worst thing in the world is when you're sitting there in bed and you go, oh, is that the right mushroom? This is a beautiful one right here.
Oh, I almost got you. Doesn't want to come out.
Let go. I'll let you get that one.
Oh, the hard one. You want to give me the hard one. I see.
Well, baby, do you want to get this one? This one's being stubborn.
Look at that.
Check it out.
Beautiful. Where is the best places to find mushrooms in the state of Washington?
Basically, you want to look for these conifer forests. Look to where the water collects and that'd be the first place to start.
So if people wanted to get in touch with you, because maybe they would like to go on a nice little foray into the forest, what would be the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Go to my website, terra-fleurs.com, and on there's information about my tours, and I'll get you lined up.
I thank you so much for taking the time to bring me out here and show me just a few little tips and tricks. And I know that, next time I'm going to put my mushrooms in my shepherd's pie, that I make sure I know which ones they are.
Absolutely, yeah. Just want to be sure. No mistakes out there, please.
We are in the kitchen at Second Harvest Food Bank, and we are doing a little taste testing. And I've got my taste testers here today. We have Tomas over here, and I have Laurent, chef and restaurateur, owns Fleur de Sel. Thank you for being here, everybody.
It's good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah. It's been too long.
And so we get to taste some recipes from allrecipes.com. And this episode is all about the outdoors and trees, and I had no idea that we actually grow, some maple trees for maple syrup, and you got to do that. That's so cool.
It was amazing just to walk out there and you see all these tubes. Well, you saw them, all the tubes and everything all over the forest, and you just think to yourself, why is nobody doing this? This was such an interesting thing, very unique, and it was so good.
So this recipe, it's a caramelized maple apple pie with candied bacon crumble.
Oh, jeez.
What? And this is by Ashley. And again, these recipes are from allrecipes.com. And Ashley says this towering pie is piled high with apples that bathe in a deep maple caramel with a slight tang from cider vinegar. It's topped with a buttery crumble studded with crispy candied bacon, a pie that definitely earns its place at the table. And I like the words that she used. Very descriptive.
It's almost like a restaurant description. It's very good.
Well, Ashley, we can't wait to try it. And here is how you make it. This looks delicious.
Look at that,
And
Ashley.
it's in.
Was worried about the vinegar cooked, in that recipe with the cider. It's very acidic, but it's not too acidic.
Well, especially using Granny Smiths that are tart to begin
They're
with.
already.
The bacon adds a nice,
I'm
kind
a
of
big,
smokiness to it or something. Like when you eat it, you're not like, oh, I'm eating bacon on top of an apple pie. It's
different.
Yeah, as much as I'm not crazy about savory and
Right,
sweets
right.
together, I'm a big fan of bacon jam. So I love
Oh,
sweet
yeah?
bacon.
Voracious girl, like your name. She says, so good. Added a butterscotch bourbon sauce and served it with a scoop of ice cream.
Yeah, ice cream would be.
Oh, voracious girl, you got it going on.
And if you're vegetarian, just skip the bacon.
Right.
That's fine,
Yeah. Well, I love it. I love the
I
bacon
love
is
it.
a nice
It's
little
good.
touch. Well, thank you, Ashley. This was
Thank you.
delicious.
To get the recipe for caramelized maple apple pie with candied bacon crumble, visit wagrown.com.
Whether you're foraging for mushrooms or growing big leaf maple trees for syrup or just going on a hike with your family, Washington forests provide some great opportunities for all of us. That's it for this episode of Washington Grown. We'll see you next time.